everybody, this is Lynn from Creative Concept Crafts with this week's release, or part release, and it's the beautiful hexagonal gift box. There's going to be an accompanying card, envelope box and box to go with it, but this is the first part. So I've taken the liberty of cutting all the pieces out. We have two base pieces, the red. We have the side pieces. The red pieces actually go to the inside of the box. And then there's the outside side pieces with the two mats. But if you look, the inside piece and the mat layer are exactly the same size. So you're not going to get the two base red pieces mixed up, one outside, one inside. I've matted and layered. There's 5 pieces of the rectangular green pieces along with their mats, the decorative mats, plus there's 2 little tabs and the front box, and then there's the 2 little pieces with the rectangles, which will become the holders for the ribbon handles. So I've already taken the liberty of matting and layering one piece complete. That's the front, sort of the front and top panel. So we're going to continue and just join the 2 pieces of the box together. This is actually quite a sizable box. It's about 6 inches, I think, give or take, on a diagonal, and I think it's about 5.5 inches tall, 5.25 inches, something like that. But you can get sort of, I mean, a box of after 8 mints is just swallowed up inside it, so you're going to be able to fit some really nice gifts inside of this. So I'm just turning over just to burnish down the tab, just making sure it's in the correct place. It moved a bit as I flipped it over then. So just burnish down. And then we're ready to add the mats. Again, I've used my 220 gram textured cardstock that I favour. If you look at this second piece, there's 3 panels. And if you look where I've placed these mats, it's on the outer 2. So the bit that's next to the tab, don't put any mat on it. You can do if you want, but it's the actual bottom of the box, so nobody's going to see it anyway. So you can either cut 5, which is what I've done, or you can cut the extra 1 to put it on the base of the box. But with 3 layers of the 220, it's quite a substantial box when it's completed. Now you'll find on these hexagons, the mat will only fit one way. So if it doesn't look as if it's lining up correctly, then just shuggle it round. Can you see that's not lining up? Whereas if you turn it another one of the lines round, and you'll find that it'll match up perfectly. So if you don't get it matching up, just turn it round until it does. It's not completely symmetrical, so that's why. You just make sure that when you're gluing it that you keep it the same way up. So I'm just whizzing through the matting here. So this, at the beginning of the video, you saw that I did it for a gift box for a friend of ours for a birthday. This one, obviously, I'm theming round Christmas with the colours of the reds and greens, which is, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I've used red glitter cardstock on the trellis area. So here we are ready to start to form the box now. The little tab pieces with the narrow green pieces, just fold them away so that you're not tempted to glue them in to the box area. And if you flatten one end of the tabs, I'll be pushing it down in a minute, and then that's what's going to happen. So the tab lines up with the edge of the end mat. Okay, can you see that? Tab lines up with the edge of the mat. So you've got the 5 panels folding in. And I usually make sure that they all flap in the same direction. That will all come together once you add the end panel, so don't worry about it at this stage. That's going to sit on there and it will all shuggle into position as you start to glue it. It's difficult to show at the minute because everything's moving around, but trust me, it will work. It's not a difficult box to do, isn't this one? It's just this little bit. It takes a little bit of time, that's all. So what I'm going to do, as I said, make sure all those flaps are lining up in the same direction. Whether they're over or under, it doesn't make any difference. And then I'm going to add glue to like a triangular end of them all the way. So it's like a triangle I'm gluing on each one. That's roughly the overlap. Don't worry if you get glue over this because that end panel is going to be glued on anyway. So anything overspilling, don't worry at this stage. I'm only putting that on to help to hold it. It's not actually going to do anything at the minute except just hold it slightly into position while you get your end panel in place. So like I said, you're lining up the end mat with the shaped front of the bag. Okay? So we're now ready to glue the end panel. You can just pop those down, but once you glue, you're going to be lining up. So glue the whole of the panel, the end panel. And then one by one, I'm going from the edge of the box, from the opening edge, just line up, and then you can just push up from the inside. So you're lining up and just push up from the inside. I'm just going to turn that and get from the first line to the second. And each time you move in, just squidge the box into shape. Okay, you can see at the minute it's nowhere near. Don't worry. Each piece of the hexagon that you line up and then push down, it will all start to pull into position. Can you see that? So you're lining all those edges up exactly. You can see that one's not lined up yet because I haven't got to it. So you're pushing it into position and lining up. It does take a few minutes, so you just have to be patient with this little bit, but it's not difficult to do. You might find it squidging out at one end as you get it in at the other. Just persist with it. Once you've got it roughly down, then you can flip it over, put it on its base, and then you can get in there with your bone folder and just push everything down. So it's glued on one side. Now you glue the inner piece, and once you get the two pieces down, it tidies all those side end tabs up, everything tidied up and pushed down and glued, and it really firms the box up. It's quite a substantial box when it's finished, is this. So once I've just got that, I'm getting my bone folder in there to get into the corners, but I think you can see just about. Like I said, it's a matte layer, so there's that little edge all the way around. If you look on all those matte panels as well, you might see the beveled edge because I've run them all around on the bone folder. So you get your perfect matte layer lined. So we're going to repeat exactly the same thing, just lining up the tabs so that they all face the same way. And then put the glue on the little triangle pieces. It's just the overlap shape, and it's only rough. Don't worry if you go over. So there we go. Can you see the sort of triangular shape? Then the end panel, and again, piece by piece, just line up until they're all into position. Once you've got them roughly there, turn over onto its side, burnish it well down, and then the internal piece can go in. Get in again with your bone folder, especially into the corners. Make sure it's well burnished down, and believe it or not, that's the box more or less finished. We've just to put the handles on and the fastening. So there we go. Isn't that such a pretty box? And like I said, it's quite sizable. So those two tabs tuck to the inside for the box to close. And then I'm going to put a magnetic clasp on the edge. So we're now dealing with the tabs for the ribbon. And what I've done, I've cut double of these. So instead of just the 2 D-rings, you could use D-rings from jewellery if you've got them, but I've used 2 together. So I'm just gluing them back to back. I've already done one of them. So just back to back, and then you put the rectangular piece through and fold it over and glue that too. So it's going to fold in half, so just thread it, bend that over. Like I said, if you've got jewellery D-rings, you could use those quite easily. And I'm just going to glue the tab over the D-ring. Now I would leave this to dry. Obviously I've done one, but I'm also going to add it with a hot glue gun as well. It's going to sit in the middle of the box at the top, and roughly halfway down the length of the what's left of the little rectangular piece. Can you see that? There's about, what, ½ an inch or so overlapping there. And it'll sit to the outside of the tab. So we're now ready for hot gluing the handle holders. Can you see? About half of it, and sit it roughly in the middle. Just make sure that's burnished down. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And then tuck those tabs in, and the lid goes down really easily. So there you've got your extensions to thread your handles into. Now we just need to complete the bag, we just need to add the magnetic tags. So I'm just showing you here, I think they're about 11 or 12 mil size that I use, and they're a mil thick. So I don't know how well you can pick that up. It's not particularly well focused, but they're about 12 mil. And what I do, hold both pieces together and just hot glue one piece. Both pieces are magnetized together, so you get the correct positioning. Push it down. Just make sure it houses down properly. Remove any excess glue if it squidges out, which is what I'm doing there. Can you see? Both pieces, and then put hot glue onto the other half of the magnet. Close the bag down and just hold for a couple of seconds. So that's the tab in position again. If there's any little bits need removing, remove them while they're still hot. Easier than trying to poke them off afterwards. So all we need to do now is to add our ribbon. Just thread. I'm using organza ribbon doubled here. It's up to you how long you want it, whether you want sort of a shoulder bag length or whether you just want a handbag length. And all I'm going to do is just hot glue these edges together. You might think, oh, well, it's going to show. A little bit, but I put it down inside of the handle that I've created. So just a little bit, and then we can overlap. I overlap a little bit more than the fastening and then just trim it off afterwards. There's it being trimmed now. And then if you pull that join to where it slides round the edge of the D-ring, and I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue in there as well. Just a few dots, and just hold that together. Now that's hidden the join, but not only that, it's given you a little bit of firmness as well. And I'm also going to do the same thing on the other side. Can you see one side's holding together when the other sort of pouches out? So I'm just going to put a couple of dots of hot glue just in there, and then just squeeze it together onto the D-ring, and that holds everything nice and firm, holds the ribbon together, and there's our completed beautiful hexagonal gift box. Of course, as I'm doing this as a Christmas box, I'm going to add the poinsettia flower and a few leaves. So in we come with the reds. There's a little bit of mirri, rainbow mirri on here as well. And I've been out with the glitter pot, of course. I can't not do glitter, especially at Christmas. So I'm just going to patch through, adding the poinsettia leaves, just tucking them in. Make sure you don't put anything that's going to glue your box lid down to your box, of course. Might sound a daft question, but the number of times I've done silly things like that and thought, oops. So I'm quite happy with that. Hope you like it too. Until we do the card to match this, until the next time, happy crafting and bye for now.